5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Gosh, there's so many different things about this next interview that I'm looking forward to. Years ago, it must have been in the mid-'90s, I guess, there was a video game. It was one of the early video game interactive games, and it wasn't really a game. It was like a way to learn about animals from the San Diego Zoo, and it was such a primitive game compared to what we have today. And so in order to prepare for this interview, I was looking to remind myself what it was called, and I couldn't find it online. But what I did find was the San Diego Zoo.org website. And I'm right now looking at the ape cam, but there's no ape in the picture yet. It looks like it's early morning out over in San Diego, which of course it is. Sandy Asch is on the phone. Sandy is an internationally recognized speaker, the principal of Alliance for Organizational Excellence. She is going to talk about her book, Roar: How to Build a Resilient Organization the World-Famous San Diego Zoo Way. And it's interesting how we can learn from them how to do it. And you don't have to have a zoo. But I'm so fascinated by the whole zoo thing that I'll probably get stuck on that for a little bit. Let's say good morning to Sandy Asch. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
Are you in San Diego right now?
I am actually in Houston, Texas.
In Houston, okay. Well, I'm looking at the ape cam in San Diego.
Well, the ape cam, I'm sure at some point today will be very entertaining.
So do you work for the San Diego Zoo?
I have been consulting with the San Diego Zoo for the past decade on their leadership program and their best place to work strategy. I lived in San Diego until very recently, and every time I would show up on site, I have to tell you, the first thing I would do is walk past the monkey enclosure, because you cannot take yourself seriously in the face of that.
We all love the monkeys, don't we? Do you know, when you say consultant, I wanted to tell you something real quickly, and this will kind of, I guess, bring everything full circle a little bit anyway. There's a company here in Ocala, and I don't even remember who they are, but they have, I think you were associated with them, Robin, and they had a complete improvement in their bottom line and in morale and in everything because a consultant came in and made all the difference in the world. And often when you hear a consultant's coming in from outside, you roll your eyes, you go, how's this guy going to help? Or how's this lady going to help? What do they know? But I think you're proof that somebody who has vision can see what's going wrong and what needs to be done to make it right.
Yeah, I think you're right, Larry. I think there's something very powerful about somebody from the outside who has an objective point of view, who can hold the vision and the dream for the organization and keep their eye on the ball. And, when an organization is open-minded, like the San Diego Zoo, and they're willing to embrace, I'm going to say, out-of-the-box ideas and innovative strategies, that's when they really gain competitive advantage. And it's interesting that you mentioned that. The zoo just had their centennial celebration. They had their 100-year birthday. And last year, their 99th year, was in fact their best year ever in their 100-year history. Record number of guests, record revenue, employee engagement, record highs. People are pretty much beating down the doors to work at the San Diego Zoo. And so I think that's really a testament to the level of consciousness and the openness of the leadership at San Diego Zoo Global to not just sort of rest in and coast on their already established success, but to keep sort of challenging the boundaries. And I think that's what makes any organization successful in the long term.
In the case of a zoo, there are three elements that you have to make sure you're pleasing. You have to please the customer. That's the person who pays to come to the zoo. You have to please the workers, because obviously without workers you don't have anything. And in this case, you have to please the animals. You can't have lions and tigers in 10 by 10 foot cages. I mean, right? And so you have three groups you have to have organizational skills for.
Exactly. Now, look, the San Diego Zoo is known. They're world-renowned for how well they take care of their animal collection.
Yeah.
They are the world-famous San Diego Zoo. And, what they've really been striving for and have done so well, as demonstrated in this book, is what they call is they go for the roar, as in the title of the book, The Roar of the Lion.
Yeah.
And what that means to them is it sort of signifies their profound commitment to making sure that every guest who visits the San Diego Zoo has a wow experience, that they leave with precious memories, and they learn about conservation. They get excited about coming together with the San Diego Zoo to join them in their vision to end animal extinction. And then the big, the trim tab and the leverage in any organization is, can you get that roar of purpose and passion every day from your employees? And that's what they do really well at the San Diego Zoo.
So what did you see when you first became a consultant 10 years ago that needed to be changed, if anything?
Yeah, well, good question. In any organization, there's always opportunity for fine-tuning, tweaking, and refining. So it was nothing really major. My colleague, Tim Mulligan, CHRO of the San Diego Zoo, and by the way, he just won the Chief HR Officer of the Year award, so there's proof in the pudding. He was very forward-thinking. So, a decade ago or so, the leadership team had sort of settled into status quo and were just sort of doing things the way they had done before, which was fairly successful. And, there's always a danger of that in any organization. And so when Tim came in and brought me in, the question was, and this is a challenge he issues to his team every day, is what we're doing world famous? So when you have a brand reputation called world famous, everything that you're doing internally every day ought to be world famous. So one of the things we started to work on, that's an incredible drive when you come to work every day. So one of the things we really started to work on was, how do we create world famous leaders? And how do we build a world famous team? And what does a world famous culture look like? And so in any organization, your brand doesn't have to be world famous. It might just be famous in your neighborhood or in your city or in your state. Right. But inside of that, the big question is always, how do we live into that every day and keep expanding? Because in today's crazy, dynamic, global economy, what was great and successful yesterday is no longer today.
So somebody reading the book Roar will try to apply that to their own organization. And if I were to ask myself, let's use the radio station as the organization, how do we make this organization world famous? Are we biting off more than we can chew with that question, or how do we decide whether world famous is what we want as opposed to neighborhood famous?
Well, you know what they say when you're eating an elephant? You just take one bite at a time, right? So it could be neighborhood famous. It could be, in our strip mall famous. It doesn't matter, but I think for every business leader, there is a question of what is the long-term vision and the dream, and what is it that's going to keep our organization growing and thriving? And in the context of this book is what's going to make us resilient. And I think that's the key topic here. We live in such a chaotic world, right? I mean, there's so much uncertainty and adversity and crisis and challenge and change. I mean, we're just bombarded by that, and no company is immune to that. So the question I ask of any business leader is, how resilient is your organization? Is it agile and adaptive enough to be able to stay relevant and to prevail in the face of whatever is going to come your way? And often you don't know how you're going to be disrupted in this economy. And the second question is, how resilient are your people? Do they have the skills, the tools, the mindset to be able to respond effectively to whatever comes their way and continue to be engaged and productive and focused and healthy?
But you have to have that reciprocity of respect also between the powers that be in the company and the employees. Everybody has to feel like they're valued somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the chapters in the book, Robin, is called People Before Profits. And, the San Diego Zoo, again, is a great example. There are many organizations that, I'm going to say, have the courage to put people before profits. It's not easy to have that mindset, but it's so true, and sometimes I think it's underestimated. I mean, when you treat people with dignity and kindness and respect and you value them, that's when you get up under their dreams and their goals, that's where people want to come to work every day and give you their best and stay.
Yeah, and I imagine from people come ideas that you either are going to embrace or discard, and I think again respect would be the key element here. Respect somebody's ideas. You might not use it, but at least you're going to give it a shot and give it a listen.
Yep, isn't that true? I mean, I think what makes great leaders is their openness and their egolessness. I know that's not a word. I just made that up on Monday morning. But you know, where a leader can make his or her own ego porous and maybe even leave ego outside the door. You know, that's a tough call. And just be open and receptive and know that, and I think this is true in every business, that inside of those people's minds, there are brilliant, innovative, bold ideas. And if you can create the environment to harness that, boom, you know, you're going to have advantage.
Our guest is Sandy Asch, and her book is called Roar, How to Build a Resilient Organization, the world-famous San Diego Zoo Way. And this is not just about building a zoo, but I'm fascinated with the zoo. In fact, I'm still looking at the ape cam, waiting for an ape to come into the picture. So let's take a little break. We've got weather and a couple of commercials, so we'll be right back with Sandy Asch after this.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sunshine and some clouds today. There'll be a couple of thunderstorms in the afternoon, highs of 90 to 94. Partly cloudy tonight, low 74 to 78. Partly sunny for tomorrow and Wednesday, a thunderstorm or two both days in the afternoon, highs of 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Heather Zayer.
There's a car accident in this country every 5 seconds. That's why Allstate thinks it's time for an entirely different kind of car insurance, with features like accident forgiveness and a safe driving bonus. It's called Your Choice Auto, and it's only from Allstate. Are you in good hands?
You deserve better. Sign up for Your Choice Auto from Allstate. Call the McDonald Agency today at 622-2333.
Features are optional and subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Insurance, Northbrook, Illinois.
Kevin Costner and Modern West take Ocala by storm when they hit the Circle Square Cultural Center stage on Saturday, August 27th. That's right, see award-winning actor and singer-songwriter Kevin Costner up close and personal at the Circle Square Cultural Center. Kevin Costner and Modern West perform a rocking blend of original and famous music. Tickets on sale now. Visit csculturalcenter.com. That's csculturalcenter.com. Or call 352-854-3670.
Hey, this is Matt Wilkerson with Verizon. Do you have teenage drivers or elderly parents that drive? I have what you need. It's the new Hum device by Verizon. Plugs directly into your car and sends alerts to your cell phone on the location, speed, and driving habits. And you set boundary alerts. You can call and speak live with an ASC certified mechanic. And if you have an accident and can't respond, Hum will automatically send for help. All this and more for just $10 a month. And if you're in Marion County, I'll even deliver and set it up for free. Call me 352-528-0020.
It's rodeo time in Ocala. The 34th annual Ocala Shrine Pro Rodeo returns to the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion September 2nd and 3rd. 7:30 nightly, cowboys ride to help children walk with all the major events of pro rodeo. Get your tickets now for broncs, bulls, and babes, cowboys, cowgirls, and you. September 2nd and 3rd, the Ocala Shrine Pro Rodeo. Don't miss it.
Putting the local back into radio. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. WOCA News. Variety. Information. Now. Keep your arms and legs on the inside at all times.
All right, 19 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Sandy Asch is on the phone. The book is called Roar, How to Build a Resilient Organization, the world-famous San Diego Zoo Way. And I'm watching the webcam for the apes over at the San Diego Zoo. So far, all I have seen is a bird fly in front of the camera. Whenever you talk about an organization and the success of that organization, every oh gosh, so many times people will say, well, they had their lucky break. How much of success is based on some kind of a lucky break, or is there no such thing as a lucky break?
I don't know if there's such a thing as a lucky break. I think it's about being prepared to seize the opportunity at the right time, in the right way, in the right place. So I think every organization goes through ebbs and there's an ebb and a flow in the life cycle of every company. And the question is, are you continuing to reinvent yourself? Are you always sort of on the leading edge? So here's a great example. Remember Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Blockbuster was my favorite video store. And I bet they had no idea that Netflix was going to come on the scene and completely put them out of business.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. So I think the lucky break is looking forward, almost like as leaders. I always say to leaders, do you take time consistently to get up above the tree line and look forward? And I think sometimes what happens inside of business or any kind of organization is we get sort of stuck in the trees and we forget to look up and out. And I think when you're looking up and out farther, you see where the potential is to disrupt or be disrupted.
I see.
And you see where the opportunity is. And then the question is, how well are you equipped to leverage that opportunity?
We have an employment agency here in our community, and they come on the radio show with us twice a month. And one of the things that they talk about in trying to attract new employees, they don't really talk about wages, and they talk about benefits a little bit. But the one thing that comes up a lot, and I don't remember this when I was looking for work, but I can see why it's important, and I want you to comment on it. It's the culture of the workplace. That seems to be really important to people looking for a job these days.
Yeah, I think culture beats strategy. Culture beats money. We always say it's not about the money, honey, when people are leaving to go somewhere else. And I think you're right. Where you create a culture where people want to be, where people get to contribute, they get to use their talent, their skill, their creativity, their genius every day, and they have a sense of purpose, that's where they want to be. And I think particularly the millennials are very interested in that sense of purpose and creating value and contributing, being part of something. In the book, we talk about, and this is one of my favorite topics, is how do you Velcro people to the why, W-H-Y. So the why of your company or your organization is your purpose, your vision, your mission, your dream. And when you can attach people's minds and hearts to your why, that's where people want to be. That's where they do their best work.
But you have to make sure that those people understand that it is their why also, that they are contributing.
Exactly.
Like that, yeah.
Well, exactly, because if their why is not congruent and aligned with the why of the company, then there's going to be a break. People are not going to feel attached, right?
I do think that what you're talking about in what Robin is talking about is the very core of being a human being. It's the ability to contribute, the ability to be part of something and not just be an animal in a zoo.
Right.
To use the zoo as a metaphor there. Although I'm wondering, do the animals ever need to feel creative?
Yeah, I would think so.
maybe not.
But I tell you what, if you're an animal at the San Diego Zoo, you have a pretty great existence. I don't know if you've been there recently, but their animal enclosures and exhibits are really extraordinary, and the animals get really well taken care of.
Did you use the San Diego Zoo as kind of a backboard for this book because it is one of the most is it one of the best examples of an organization?
It's a really good example. Look, I'll say this. There is no perfect organization, but the San Diego Zoo has such a beautiful story to tell. And Tim Mulligan and I had talked about writing a book for many years, about leadership and telling some of the stories about the San Diego Zoo. And in the book is not all about the San Diego Zoo. We sort of use it as a backdrop.
Right.
There are examples from many other companies. But as they were ramping up for their centennial celebration, I said to Tim, what an incredible story. I mean, here's an organization that's faced so much adversity and criticism and financial crisis, and they just prevail. And they're so resilient. And here they are 100 years later, stronger than ever. We have to tell the story. And so that's how we got started in writing this book.
And the leadership can't be stagnant, because if you've got somebody that's been a leader of an organization who was like, say, the founder of it, and it's 20 years into it, they have to be open-minded about accepting new kinds of ideas to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a leader and you're not uncomfortable every day, that's not a good thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, I like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, you just have to be uncomfortable every day, because if you're not challenging yourself and you're not out on the edge, well, then you're not growing. I'll tell you about my favorite animal enclosure at the San Diego Zoo and why I think that's so powerful. It's called Elephant Odyssey. And when the San Diego Zoo built the Elephant Odyssey enclosure, there had been a lot of criticism about how elephants had been treated in captivity. And the best way they found to respond to that was to turn the animal exhibit inside out. So, when you go see animals at a zoo, typically you're just looking at the front of the enclosure. You don't see what's going on behind the scenes. Well, when you go to Elephant Odyssey, you actually walk through the back and through the middle of the enclosure. I mean, you can see the elephants getting their pedicure and getting their medicine and getting fed and getting washed. It's pretty incredible. And what's so compelling about that is the level of transparency. So how much courage does it take for a leader in any company to say, we're willing to be completely transparent. You can come behind the scenes. We're going to pull back the curtains. You can see everything we're doing in the background, because that's how confident we are that you will trust us, and whatever you see will build your loyalty and respect.
Wow. Well,
and the way that translates into to all of our organizations, even us as a country. I mean, we're debating on who we want to be the next leader of the country, and I hope that person understands the things you're talking about, because we all want to be contributing to our jobs, to our families, to our country, etc. I think you've hit on something really important.
Well, it's interesting. We've seen such an interesting time, both politically and then also with the Olympic Games going on, and also the occurrences of terrorism and attacks all around the world, where we're all being called upon to be resilient, right?
Absolutely.
And one of the things I think that's remarkable about, I'm a swim fanatic. I mean, I just have been watching Michael Phelps, and then the 5 gymnasts. I mean, aren't they just extraordinary? And you just think of the courage that it takes, the resilience that they have, and then also the willingness to be really authentic. And I think that's one of the things we're seeing in the political race right now.
Yeah.
Who's really authentic? Who can we really, really trust? Who's really connected? And all of that translates to leaders at every level in any company.
Yeah, and the one thing they've all accomplished, whether you like them or not, they're all world famous.
Yes.
Not a lot different in some cases than what you're seeing on the gorilla cam there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. Sandy, Asch, thank you so much. The book is called Roar. Do you have a website? We've got about 20 seconds. Do you have a website?
Yeah, theroarbook.com.
Oh, that's easy enough. Sandy, thank you so much. That was fun.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back. Ace Solves It All is up next.
Fox News Radio, I'm Anna Wells. A Texas mother is accused of drowning her 2 young children.
Shabora Thomas is charged with capital murder after Houston authorities say she told a man helping her move that she had drowned her 7-year-old son and 5-year-old daughter in a bathtub. Police say she tried to bury the children, but when it was too difficult, she hid the bodies under a neighbor's house, where they were found.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers.